Hello everybody and welcome to Lights Up, the WNBL podcast, the official podcast of the WNBL and our talking points segment where we have a look at a few of the contentious and possibly controversial talking points around the WNBL. Joining me today, again, Sharin Milner, the 2011 WNBL Grand Final MVP. Do you ever get tired of hearing that, Shaz?
I think you've worn it out, but yeah, keep going with it. I think it's all I've got to hang my hat on.
It sounds pretty good, doesn't it? It's not every day you win an MVP and a championship.
It's true. It's a good day.
We talked last week a lot about Lauren Jackson's return to the WNBL.
Yep.
And as it turns out, it didn't happen.
It didn't. She Usain bolted us with a false start, a la world champ. That's okay. She's a champ herself, so we'll give her a false start. Will she or won't she play this weekend? That's the question that I think Adelaide and Bendigo would love answered, as I'm sure their game plan would hinge on it. But yeah, we'd love to see her out there. It's
going to be interesting to see. We've talked about how they handle it. Do they, use her a lot? If they're on road doubles, do they play a 2? Do they play a 1? How are they going to handle that? And I guess, as you say, the other teams would want to know. And Bendigo sitting at 6-0 after a weekend off. I'm sure Bernie's planning. You've got plan A for Jackson and plan B without Jackson.
That's right. And on the flip side, you'd want a plan A for Gabe Richards as well. That's some awesome matchups, both games. You got Bakovic v Jackson and Richards v Jackson potentially. So, in terms of managing her minutes, I think Graf's been around enough and they've got a relationship where they will manage according to Lauren's body. But in saying that, the back girl only played 28 minutes and managed 27 points. So, could be the most exciting 25 minutes of basketball you'll ever see Friday night.
It's not bad. You talk about a Richards-Jackson matchup in Bendigo and Canberra, but the way Bridget Ardossi played last weekend, we could see a Richards-Ardossi matchup, which would then maybe have Jackson playing, say, in the 4 spot, which then gives Bendigo probably a further matchup headache. Yeah,
you're spot on. What would I know about the bigs? You're right, GB. That's likely to be the matchup. Ardossi v Richards. It's a battle of the heavyweights. That would be an absolute corker. It'd obviously free up Jackson and probably potentially minimise her risk of re-injury if she's going to stand under Gabe Richards for the 25 minutes she's out there.
Well, you can just see, I guess, Loz out on the perimeter, just lob a few threes in and see what happens. So, as we said, we don't know if she's going to play or not. It's probably one of those things where, they will wait maybe until day before game and make decisions on her right throughout the season. One decision that has been made was made by Shanavia Dowdell last week, the import for the Townsville Fire, who had said she was homesick and wanted to return to the US, which she has done. What does that do for Townsville to lose a pretty handy import?
Yeah, look, I mean, she was absolutely stellar for them last year, a massive part of that finals campaign. It's going to put a big dent in their plans, and I guess their push for the top 4, even if they were able to bring someone in now. Like I said, the gap is widening with the top 4, and it's a chase that's on. They will be looking to some of their experienced players to step up in Flanagan and Foley, who probably had a quietish start to their campaign, but yeah, losing a Dowdell is very, very harmful, I'd say, to their playoff chances, and yeah, I'd almost say that's it for them.
That's a tough one for Townsville to take, and hopefully they can recover and make a fist of the season. Team that is making a fist of this season, as it did last season, is the defending champion Dandenong Rangers. They are really coming into some form. They've had scores this season of 90, 103, 92 and 102. They've only lost twice, and both those games were to Bendigo. What do we read into all that?
Well, I think we read that if you're going to let McLeod, O'Hay, Cunningham and Cumming off the leash, you're pretty much defensive suicide. That is an absolute win for them. And all those 4 girls have had great seasons. And can you defend any of them one-on-one? I'm not sure. But obviously the losses to Bendigo is going to be the reality check for where they need to improve. But certainly reading into those scores and the form of players like O'Hay, who's had a massive campaign and is probably not even close to hitting her peak, is scary for the rest of the league.
I know a lot of people get concerned about the scoring in the NBL, but to see a WNBL team putting those numbers up is miraculous. It's great for the league.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, the E-tag is expensive, but I'd be on the Monash. I reckon if it won a good $12, $15, what does it cost these days to get in? Dandenong Rangers are a good buy. They are absolutely entertainment plus with that offensive edge. Not sure if Mark would be loving the fact that they are leaking a few points. On the flip side, they did concede about 80 points to Logan last weekend, and he's quite a defensive-minded coach, but they play up tempo, so as long as they're getting those scores, I'd say go watch them, and you'll most likely be singing their song at the end of the game.
All right, so then how does Tom Maher deal with that scoring load from Dandenong this week? He's got a relatively young team now. How does he get his team ready, and how do you think he'll look at trying to contain the Rangers with his defence?
Yeah, not sure if that young thing was a little snide at us oldies who departed, but you're right, they do have a young group, and they're still finding their way. You'd hope for Tom and Boleyn's sake that they start to gel soon, because like I said, they're already 2 games out of the 4, and they're coming up against the big 4 in Dandenong, plus those 2 AIS kids who are just almost averaging double figures themselves, which is a worry. But, you know, they've got some good signs. They've been building. They're getting a roster back to full health. So I think that'll be an absolute corker of a match. But I would say the team that ticks the boxes in terms of their defensive game plan at the end of the game is going to be walking out the winner.
Well, we will see how that pans out. Later in the week, we'll, of course, have a close look at that Dandenong-Boyne game next week on Lights Up. That is it for Talking Points for Lights Up for this week. Don't forget you can follow the WNBL as closely as you like at wnbl.com.au. You can follow the league and the players on Facebook and also at Twitter. You can follow the Lights Up co-hosts on Twitter at Sharin Milner 4. Have you been going with the Twitter, Shaz? Have you been putting a few things out there?
I'm doing a classic point guard thing, just thinking my way through it at the moment. You should see me bob up with some tweets soon, just feeling my way around it at the moment.
Look forward to that. So get onto it. Ask her some questions so she has to tweet and reply. And of course, Desi Globitz at Desi Globitz 6 is our other co-host on Twitter. Of course, Friday night you can see the ABC Game of the Week live streaming on their website, and it's shown nationally on TV at 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. That is it from Talking Points with Lights Up for now. Don't forget later in the week when we have the pre-game show of Lights Up.